We're back.
That's almost sounded like Children of the Corn / like Poltergeist type thing.
Oh man, well I mean we're getting into like the scary stuff.
It is.
So.
Oh,
Ooh,
good.
yes,
Way
good.
to bring the theme into it.
Okay, so we're talking about realtor safety. We had 2 comments I think over the weekend alone about kind of scary things that have come up. So if 2 of you have talked about it, it's definitely happening more, and it's worth spending a little bit of time on just to put in some measures to protect yourself and ideas on how to keep yourself safe. You hear all kinds of nightmares, you know, people having issues with. We put ourselves in a position where we're alone, often at night, showing vacant properties, and things can happen. So be safe about it. I'm sure we all have a story. I have a story where I got cornered in a basement by a big scary man. Luckily, in that instance, one of our things on here is trust your gut. We'll come back to it.
Yeah.
My gut told me I knew there was something wrong. I actually had Mike drive me. Mike is my husband. Drive me to that appointment. But I should have just listened to my gut anyway.
Yeah.
But I didn't. But anyways, that was my one scary moment, and after that, I just put every precaution in place possible, and I never had another one really after that. So let's talk about ways we can mitigate issues.
Perfect.
Yeah. So first thing that I put in place with my business when I was selling is the Find My Friend app. And that's an iPhone app. I'm sure that there's a version of that with Samsung and other phone providers. But the Find My Friend app is really cool. Basically, you can set it up so that anyone, whoever you choose, not everyone, whoever you specifically choose can see your location of where you are at that moment. It's real time. Do you have it up there?
You know, I have the app up here, and Jordan, you can go to my screen, but
you don't have anyone on there.
I don't have any friends.
You have no friends on here. But
you
more
can
or
go
less,
in here and add a friend.
Yeah, so if he were to add a friend.
I don't know.
What?
Chloe.
Sure.
So.
I'm going to be able to track you now. I'll show you how to turn it off. Don't
okay.
worry.
So I'll send an invite. Oh, so share for an hour. So you can actually share to the end of the day, share for an hour.
Well, and you can toggle this function on and off. So you have to probably request it.
I'd have to set up my settings, everything else. So.
Anyways, so you will see on the map exactly where your friend is. So I set this up with my husband, Mike, so that when I was out showing houses, he knew where I was all the time. It was not an issue.
Perfect.
It's also kind of convenient because then he knows when I'm on my way home and stuff like that too, because you can.
He can have dinner ready for you.
Exactly. It's amazing.
Make sure the kid is changed. Dinner is ready.
Yeah, exactly.
Find my iPhone, and I'm safe.
And I'm safe. But I've heard people say, well, I don't want my husband to know where I am all the time, which is whatever, each your own. But realistically speaking, you can turn this on and off. You can share it for an hour. There are ways to make this manageable in life. And really, it doesn't have to be a husband. It can be, you can have a buddy system in real estate. Like you and another colleague, you can kind of check in on each other on those things.
Well, and it's just the expectation. Share to the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm going to share for the day, and that's it.
Exactly.
You don't have to have it on all the time.
Exactly. So that's one that I use all the time.
Yeah.
Another thing that I put in place in my business is I would not meet people in properties unless I had met them and identified them in advance. So especially vacant properties, but any property really. So I would often meet them in coffee shops or somewhere in public where there are other human beings that can see you if anything happens, and I would identify them. I mean, you're gonna have to do it at some point anyway if they're gonna buy a house from you.
Well, plus you're taking them into a stranger's property. It's worth like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like you're a stranger, and I'm going to take you into this property. It's like out of respect. I'd like to see a piece of ID just to make sure you are who you say you are.
Yes.
And we need to submit it back to our office. Say it's your office policy.
That's what I always did.
That is the number one way. And you know what? Even if you're meeting them at the property, it's best to meet in a public place first. Say, hey, meet me at the Starbucks. we'll, in the parking lot, we'll do a quick ID check, and then we'll head over to the property. Or they can say, hey, let's just meet at the property. Fine. You don't go in the property until you're outside, you do the ID check, and then what do you do with it? How do you capture it?
So I would take a picture of it. I'm not entirely sure if that's allowed or not.
It's technically not under the rules, but you can actually take down the driver's license number.
Yep, and their name.
That's right, and their name, and you can then text that to somebody. But most people aren't going to say this is an invasion of my privacy.
No.
Whatever else. So you can even have the FinTrack form there,
where
you fill this out for money laundering, whatever else. Take their ID number, and then take a photo of that and text it to anybody.
Yes, I mean, well, with the FinTrack stuff.
Oh, right.
You want to be careful with that.
Yes. Text it to another trusted realtor,
yes.
A manager, send it to your email,
yes.
Whatever you want to do.
Or at the very least, what you can do is take down the client's name, like their full legal name, and often what I would do is I would just text that to my husband or my dad or whoever, and just say, hey, I'm showing a property at 4:30 to this guy, and if I don't text you back by 5 o'clock, send the search party.
Most people aren't like, here's my identification, now I'm going to do something nefarious.
No, exactly. And I was really upfront about it. I would just say, look, it's for safety. Realtors, we meet a lot of random people in a lot of random properties, and it's a safety measure that I take for my business. I never had anyone fight me on that. And really, if they did, that's a pretty red flag.
That's the biggest red flag ever. Don't do it. If someone's not going to provide their ID, it's a little like I used to teach self-defense courses all the time, and we are going to set something up for June, by the way. We have 2 amazing people that have offered to do it. We're going to probably do one in June, maybe one in July, but we'll have it where, because I want to get the 2 different flavors, or one in June, one in September. But Brenda Coulter, her husband, has offered to do it. Colin Sloan has a buddy of his that has offered to do one. So it'd be interesting to get the different perspectives. But one of the things was that if you're walking down the street and someone comes closer and you kind of cross the street and they cross the street, and you're sort of in this awkward point, and you just say, stop, you're making me feel uncomfortable, please don't come any closer. As a good guy, I consider myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry, like, I'm not going to, but all of a sudden it's like, oh, baby, I'm, coming up, or, what's your problem, man? Like, and they start walking and closing that gap, they've revealed their intent.
Well, and that's a really good time to use your native phone safety.
That's exactly it.
Apps, which we're going to show you in a second.
So, go ahead, please.
To set off alerts. So, Lindsay's going to pull up how to use the iPhone one. We're both iPhone users. I'm assuming there are Samsung equivalents to these things, but iPhone has put in some really cool features to make putting alerts in really easy. So if you're in an emergency situation, there's you click a button and stuff happens.
Let me show you this really quickly. So obviously you'll need to, if you're a Droid user, look at Android options, and that way it doesn't matter which phone you're on. But on your phone, so let's go back to that screen.
I don't have your screen.
He does not have my screen, so I'm going to go back and start sharing that again. Perfect. Okay, so on your phone, go into Settings. And you'll see in the settings here that there's this option called Emergency SOS right under Siri and FaceTime, and you just hit Emergency SOS, and that's going to take you over to some instructions here, and it says press and keep holding the side button and either volume button to make an emergency call. So you can just press and hold the volume button. Your phone might be slightly different depending on how old the model is, but you have options here to call with the side button, so you can press this button, the side lock button, 5 times rapidly, and stuff will happen. So if I hold this button, if I hold these 2 buttons, you'll actually see my screen come up and it count down 5, 4, 3, 2. I'm going to release that. But if I were to do it again, SOS in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and eventually it will call. So I'm just going to cancel out of that.
And it will call 911.
And it will call 911.
Yes.
So it's set up to call 911, and now you're live on there with an operator. There's some emergency contacts that you can put in here. You have this countdown sound. Now I'm going to do this. This sound might come through the screen, but the quicker one is I'm going to rapidly tap my lock button 5 times in succession. And then emergency call canceled. I actually did this the other day with my new vehicle. I had it jammed into the console and it depressed these buttons accidentally, and I didn't stop it fast enough, and it called 911.
Yeah.
And I hung up really quick, and then of course I got the phone call back. But anyways, that's it. So you can choose to play a countdown sound or not. But this is built in. No special apps. I know there's other apps out there on, I think Showing Time has one. Post up in the comments if you have another app. But just having your phone in your hand 5 times quickly alerts people, has a sound happening, you know, whatever it is, you can turn that sound off, and then you're good to go as a safety option.
Yes, and I think, and I don't know anything about this program, but I think that their Sentry Lock has some kind of safety feature built in when you're accessing a lockbox. Like you can, there must be something on there that will send an alert to someone, because I've received that alert from one of our agents, and it's by accident. The agent was fine, but it basically alerted me that the agent was in distress at that property. So there's something in this. If you're in a real emergency situation, there might be another option in there as well.
Yeah, so these are a few things. So now it's like you have their ID,
Yep.
You're in an open house, you're carrying around your phone, you know, you can practice it a few times, you can stop it, like just double clicking or quintuply clicking 5 times.
Yeah,
They make it where it's very difficult to set off accidentally.
Yeah, somehow we've both done it. Though.
Yeah, we've both done it. But that's it. My first time of doing it was just like 2 days ago. So anyways, let's talk about though, like the showing aspect, and you're in an open house. Now you've done your best part, and you're not going to ID everybody walking in an open house. Yvette, Carmen, good job. Someone looked a bit off.
That was impressive that she was able to do that.
You took the phone, someone looked a bit off, and saying, you know, seller is requesting ID before coming in.
Yeah.
Like you can, you know, think on your feet. Think this through today, so when you're in that position. So when you're actually at the open house and someone comes in who's sketchy, there's a few things. Number one, never let someone get between you and the exit.
Correct.
So they walk into the house, even if they're there, move off to the side. So they walk in here, and now they're blocking your exit. Mm-hmm. Walk to the side, offer them to come in, and then from there, take a phone call. Say, go and take a look around, take a phone call, and stand by the door. Make sure the door is open, you know, not locked, even if the screen door is there, whatever it happens to be, or partway open. Just make sure that you keep yourself there. They can go ahead and look around the house.
With a quick exit.
With a quick exit.
Now, realtors probably are going to say, well, what if they steal something? Or what if, you know, they destroy something or whatever?
Yep, you're alive.
Yeah,
and
you're alive to deal with it.
And are you going to be the one, your homeowners have homeowners insurance, are you going to be the one that's going to be the knight in shining armor and fight this person? Like, really, over like an insurable, replaceable item? And if they want to ransack the place, you're going to be in a better position to call the police.
Yeah, your life is more important.
Yeah, this is literally like put your own auction mask on first before helping somebody else. You being alive is someone that can help with this. You're not going to be the defender of the house. And you don't want sketchy people as clients that make you feel uncomfortable, so don't worry about trying to get the lead. If it's really bad, if you're really uncomfortable with this person, step outside.
Yeah.
Literally, leave them in the house.
Yeah.
Step outside, go to your car, so keep your keys on your persons. Go to your car and be there in a position where you can get in. You can call police, non-emergency line. Mm-hmm. Just say, I'm here, I got the sketchy person in my open house.
Yeah.
And you're out of the house, and the person is in there by themselves. Don't stay in the house. Don't follow them around the house. Don't do any of these things. Let people walk around the house themselves. I actually didn't follow people around the open houses.
I didn't either.
I said, hey, go ahead and take a look around. Let me know if you have any questions. Come back down, and then I ask them questions from there.
Yeah.
So if you have to go out and take a phone call, just fine. Like, pretend you're taking a call.
Yeah.
But have it to the police. What is it? 403-266-1234.
Yeah.
Police non-emergency line.
Yeah.
Make sure you have that programmed in. You'll be ready to go.
Yeah. I think really the biggest thing here is just listening to your gut. You and all your ninja training stuff. I don't know.
not ninja selling.
You're basically ninja. And I did a bunch of police training too before I was in real estate. And really everything that they teach you in those courses is all about listening to your gut.
Yeah.
And how to deal with the repercussions.
Yeah.
But mostly listen to your gut. You can really remove yourself from most situations by just listening to your gut. And if something feels off, it probably is, and just start putting in your safety measures at that point.
Yeah, I want to, it's like I'm resisting by not saying this stuff, but I just want to make a statement is that, so you do everything possible. There's a couple things that make a big difference here. Number one, as soon as someone gets close to you and they have an opportunity to grab you or anything else, it's too late. It's like then you're trying, this is why they have weight classes and UFC and things like that. It's very difficult to overcome that. And we will talk about that. They will talk about that in the self-defense point where what if all your precautions fail? My suggestion, if all your precautions fail, is number one, keep distance, keep stuff between you as much as possible. That's why just leave the house. Don't have pride. Pride is out the window.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't have pride. If you get into a physical altercation with someone, you are no longer the defender, you are now the aggressor. And you need to have something switch in your brain where you go on the offense, and there's an acronym that's TIEUP, T-I-E-U-P, and it's thumb and eyes under pressure wins fights. And that's as much forward pressure, as aggressive pressure as you can, sink your thumbs in their eyes, hug up and bite, tear flesh, whatever it happens to be, and then people tend to forget on why they started the altercation in the first place. But forward pressure as much as you can, sink your thumbs in, whatever you can do, gouge at the eyes, and then get the hell out of there. And that's it. So that's my...
Hopefully it doesn't get to that point.
No, hopefully it doesn't get to that point.
But if it does.
That is my one point. There's one thing that I want in your head when if you get into a physical altercation, it is thumb and eyes. Thumb and eyes, thumb and eyes, thumb and eyes. That's it. And you, you like hook the back of the head and you go digging. And it is literally... that's the concept, and it is just, this is, now it's life or death. Yeah. You don't want to play with it. That's my 15-second self-defense tip for you.
That's hardcore.
Yeah.
It's good.
So
I mean,
it is like,
that, but
we're talking about like, this is not anymore of like, oh, I'm going to take their hand and bend it or anything else. Yeah, it is like you're there, you're tearing flesh, your thumb and eyes, like everything. It is just as, like, it's survival now. Anyways, that's it. But it won't get to that point. Like Chloe said, don't go into basements with people.
No.
Let people go around, even if it's a couple. Like there's some couples that, like we've heard stories about this, like sketchy people that are out there together, are not great people. You know, don't let this happen. Let people go and see the house. Someone steals something, that's not your responsibility. Like we can
and prep your clients to remove their expensive stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Someone comes down with a painting. It's like, that person has a painting.
Yeah.
Take a photo of them and off you go. You know, call the police. So that's the best line of defense.
Thumb and eyes. Got it.
Tie up. Thumb and eyes under pressure. Thumb and eyes under pressure.
Okay.
Attack the eyes. People, like I say again, people just lose their will to fight when they can't see.
Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And it's like you're gonna close your fist and punch this person who's 6'5", might be training in MMA. Like, you kidding me? Like, people get punched every single day in training. You, as me 5'11", even 180 pounds, it's like, I'm not dropping a big guy with my best punch. It's like, what do you do to even the score? Anyways,
thumb and eyes.
That's that. Yeah, more than that later. So that's your meeting this week.
That's it.
On that note.
That's all we got.
Yeah, all right.
Cool.
Hope you guys had an awesome meeting. Chloe, thank you so much for stepping in last minute. It's a little bit weird, the mood. You got to try to finish this off.
That's good. Thanks for having me.
Coming soon listings. Get out there, promote them. No meeting next week, which would have been Agent Pursuit. So on the 27th, we're going to have our Agent Pursuit meeting. We're going to have Sarah Johnston on.
Oh, that'll be good.
Yeah, talking about branding that she's done and a personal brand she's built.
Good at that.
Yeah, and really dynamic, so it's going to be a lot of fun. So see you guys in 2 weeks, and watch your emails for more information on some of the great stuff we launched at the AGE. Have a great week.
See you.